get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back seat! Tell me where you are, John!
Wolfman's got Nards!
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. I've not done any coverage on the I Know What You Did Last Summer news recently because I wanted to let it settle in a bit because we've got a bit of a revival going on with the 90s slasher movies, and I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is the next big thing to happen. And similar to what happened in the late 90s, Scream came out and it was a big boom of the teen slasher films, and then we got I Know What You Did Last Summer. And because Kevin Williamson was part of that and he wrote the script, that it was a bigger movie than I thought it was going to be, because I think looking back on I Know What You Did Last Summer, at the time it was nowhere near as good as Scream or even Scream 2 at the time. But over time, I think it got a cult following, then obviously got a sequel just a year later with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. But since the boom of the requels or the reboots, whatever you want to call them, I think now is a good time to maybe bring back some of those films from back in the late 90s, and I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is a good place to start. We've already got the revival of, not Scream yet, but Halloween in 2018 with a semi-reboot, and then in 2022 we got the revival of Scream. So I think it's only fitting to have I Know What You Did Last Summer be the next big one. But since the news broke, I've talked to people online about it, back and forward to think what's going to happen, what's the storyline going to be. We already know that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are reprising their roles in the film, and one of the big questions that I get asked, not as if I know the answers, but the things that we get talking about and get discussing about is, how is Julie still alive? Well, when you look back, it's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. She was in her bedroom at the very last scene while Ray was brushing his teeth, and Julie sat on her bed and she looked in the mirror and saw Ben Willis underneath her bed. He grabbed her, she got pulled under, and then it was the end of the movie. Now if that was the end of the series forever, then it's left it on a bit of a ambiguous ending, because on one hand you could say she died and then the fisherman went to kill Ray and then the two of them died and that's it, or you could look at it as what I think it is, and just a dream sequence, a nightmare sequence. Because if you look back at the end of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the same thing happened there. She thought she killed Ben Willis, which at the time she did, before the sequel got announced, and then she had the dream sequence and it says I Still Know, and then he smashes through the glass and apparently gets her, but that obviously didn't happen. It was just a dream, because we got I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. So it's very easy to bring both of them back. There's no really any big question about it. So if we do get the next one, which we will do, then it's going to be classed as a dream, and that's it. I'm sure it was Jim Gillespie. Yeah, it was Jim Gillespie that directed I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that wasn't supposed to be the ending of the movie. The original ending was supposed to be Julie getting an email saying I still know, and he thought that that was a bit lame, so he directed it in a lame fashion, so that when the studio watched that ending they thought, no, we need it a bit better than that. So he was thankfully scrapping that ending, which is what they did do. I don't think I've ever seen that ending, but they did shoot it, but then they reshot it again and got the ending that we got, which was a cool ending, because not only did it leave it finished for a one and done film, but they left it open for a sequel as well, whether Julie came back or not. Thankfully she did come back for I Still Know, and the same thing happened at the end of I Still Know. So I think whatever the title will be for the third movie, then we're going to get her explaining that she's had nightmares because of what happened, and that's it. Now we're obviously going to ignore part 3, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, even though it had the original killer in it. We'll obviously ignore that one. That was a VOD straight to video that nobody really wants to talk about. So this is going to be a sequel or a reboot or a whatever you want to call it to the first two movies. And that's not confirmed. It's just going to be a reboot. For all we know, they're going to ignore I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. They might even ignore some things that happened in the original movie. There's just no confirmation yet. But ideally for me, because I love both movies, I love I Still Know, ideally for me it's just going to be a straight up sequel to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And if they do that, it means you can bring back both characters with ease. You can even bring back You can even bring back Brandy if you liked her, Carla, if you liked her as a character. I personally liked her as well, so the more the merrier. So what are your thoughts on that ending, guys? How did Julie survive? Do you think she survived because it was a nightmare she had? Or do you think they're going to completely redo that because you might think that that was the real ending? Leave your comments down below, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.